You'll have to excuse me, Hallmark, in a moment. I don't get an opportunity to perform in this capacity as often as I'd like to, and it's really tremendous to see so many people who decided to come out. For starters, welcome. I hope you enjoy yourselves very much. I hope that you're loud, bombastic, enthusiastic, you sing along, and you enjoy the nostalgia. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lee Bursey. I am a singer-songwriter and storyteller. I'm originally from St. John's, Newfoundland, and I live in Blackville. True story, beautiful place. Probably the entire population of the community would probably fit here right now comfortably. That being said, as you can imagine, as beautiful as it is, I mean scenic, I live in basically the backdrop to a Disney film. We have deer running through our yard. It doesn't always generate as many opportunities as you would like to be able to be in front of people. And in a past life, I used to be somebody. I was a mall Santa for many years. I was a drag queen and I was gorgeous. I was a professional wrestler and my kneecaps remind me of every day. I've written children's books, I've written best-selling books. I worked on the Obama campaign in North Carolina once. And this is a cool segue to an anecdote. My mother's on the side stage here, my biggest supporter. And I remember when I was recruited to the Obama campaign as a punk rocker who hosted concerts and public events, similar to this except with maybe 1/19th as many people. I actually had to leave. I was recruited, leave, this is a great opportunity, go work out of the Raleigh, North Carolina office, absolutely. I remember leaving my mother to host a hardcore show that had been set up beforehand. And to her credit, she carried that PA, she pretended she knew the words, and screamed out, yeah, whatever the case, and made sure that the boys were taken care of, and she's always been tremendous that way. Earlier tonight, I was giving an anecdote about her helping me with a protest I hosted on Parliament Hill during COVID, and her carrying a PA system speaker 2 kilometers, wearing a face mask. Definitely a tough cookie in her day. And I think I'll start with that particular anecdote. Mom has never been much about being the center of attention, except when she makes herself the center of attention. And that runs in our family. So for context, coming from Newfoundland, I have a cousin who's in Great Big Sea. I've been performing as a musician, storyteller, songwriter, and more recently, comedian for a number of years. But I've also been an activist and a community storyteller more than anything else. If anyone's ever curious about anything I've been a part of and you want to know more, you can go to a website like invisiblepeople.tv and you'll see a plethora of articles I've written about some of those who are the most marginalized and underprivileged. And I think this is probably an apropos anecdote to begin on because what I like to call recovery-based comedy is what I do. And it was a natural foray for me from that as a singer-songwriter who was often talking about the people who inspired me, the people who I interacted with, the people who touched me, the people who took holes in me, and the pieces of me, everywhere they go. That said, there's a lot of humor in those moments. So while I'm being very, very artful and very polite in this moment, I can assure you as the next 10-15 minutes go on, this is going to be a bit audacious with some of the stories. So forgive me, but that said, don't forgive me too hard, just remember to laugh. That's really the key. So, anyways, again, my name is Lee. Pilgrim Pilgrim is my musical act. I named it part in homage to the Pixies with the Come On Pilgrim record, but also because I am a middle-aged white guy who invites myself to spaces that no one's invited me to, and tend to take up those spaces. And I thought it was somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek way to put out that moniker beyond just my name. So normally I'd be performing music and telling these stories, but I understand that someone else might be doing it tonight. So that being said, if you are interested and you want to support what I'm doing, these green seats do not buy themselves. I do have records and CDs and I'll be in the lobby afterwards. And I'm also an alcoholic, so if anyone would like to buy me a beer, I'm totally okay with that. Anyway, keeping this going, I'm going to tell a story about living in Blackville. So, we've got a really unique neighbor down the road who, and you know, I have some colleagues who've heard this story before. You don't forget to fucking laugh, okay? Anyway, so you do your best to support people. And the worst part about marrying yourself to someone's potential is sometimes You see value in people, you become attached to all the incredible things you see for them. That doesn't always mean that they're in a place or a trajectory where they can see that for themselves. Not long ago, I stood up for someone going through renovation. And I was proud to. I was happy to. I cared about them. I saw the value. I knew the stats of what would happen if a young mother had been displaced and how cyclical our system can be in terms of its disadvantages and how broken it can be. Maintaining a house with multiple units requires having some partial custody of your children. Having some partial custody of your children could completely be based on what available bedrooms you have. These type of circumstances, they play out all over the country and can be very, very challenging. I did my best to stand up for this person, and then they stole my snowblower. Now, I forgive them. It's quite a pastime in my neighborhood. It's actually a huge part of our local economy is stealing snowblowers. But my mother, who is currently stricken with a very unique neurological disorder called Huntington's disease and has some mobility issues, did she not march across the street and down the road with her walker, bang on that door? Excuse me, local trap house. I understand that you have my son's fucking snowblower. To which, of all things that this person could have done, they called the cops. All of a sudden, you are watching a real-life episode of Cops that's happening just down the road between riot police and very, very speedy type community just dispersing rapidly. Going, what the fuck did you do? Why did you call the cops? Oh my God. You ratted yourself out in the process. This story has taken on a life of its own. Because now my mom's fucking Snoop Dogg. You got this little old lady with a walker who down at our local gas station, which is basically CNN headquarters in Blackpool, has a mythos attached to her as the person who went to the trap house, told those skeets to fucking stop fucking around and give him back his goddamn snowblower. Meanwhile, the criminal underbelly of Blackfoot righted themselves out in the process. These type of unique experiences are not unique in my family. I can remember my mother and I finding a very unique way to get drunk with no one noticing. We went to a local Thai food restaurant and saw they were licensed. And we remembered that if you eat a lot of Asian food, many times very carb-heavy food, you might end up in a scenario where coming out, being a little sluggish, looking a little foolish, probably isn't going to bring a lot of attention to you. So, of course, we took that as an opportunity to get right fucked up on rum at the Chinese food restaurant. And this was ingrained in me very early, and we had a lot of fun in the process. Good, bad, and different. She's been my tag team partner the whole way through. Now, keeping that in mind, I want to tell you a story. And this story is both shocking, but also tremendously entertaining. And I hope that you can just see the value of the entertainment as opposed to the derelict bullshit that this person's done to his body and should not be standing here today. As a punk rocker, I've had some really unique experiences. For instance, who here likes the movie Freddy Got Fingered? Nobody cheered when I got fingered at all. So, my birthday comes along, I'm playing at a local communist bar. It literally is the coolest bar I've ever fucking seen in my life. Rasputin folk are on the wall, Tom Waits playing on the screen. There's a sign that says, if you're drinking, if you're pissing in our toilets, you better be drinking our beer. I love it. Nothing on there says anything about all the pissing on the floor that people did, but that's beside the point. This is a punk rock bar. I'm playing these shows. At this point, I'm a recording artist. I have like 60 shows across Eastern Canada for the better part of a year. Very, very proud. Put out an album. They're on CDs. I don't know if your generation knows much about CDs, but they're basically elaborate coasters without work. Anyway, at that point, we were fucking killing it. Very, very proud. My toxic twin Audrey in the band, her and I, we used to definitely put back more than the rest of the bandmates. We loved it when there was any level of drink tickets, because many of my bandmates didn't drink at all, which was, of course, my favorite place to play. I didn't care if I was getting paid. I just wanted fun. However, when you're screaming your guts out on the stage, sometimes your throat gets sore, especially after 60 shows. So I ended up in a scenario where I got to my bandmate's house. At my bandmate's house, we had a number of bandmates who were there, as well as a number of university students who were renting rooms from them. So you get to know everyone, you get to have a lot of good experiences. I'm a bit older than some of my bandmates. degrees. I'm also not in university. But I can buy beer. So I'm obviously the most popular person in the room. I get to the space, my throat's really raw, I already started with the cracking black rum. I told you I'm right? So this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's plenty of time, perfect time to get started. While doing so, I end up in a scenario where my throat is really starting to kill me, and we're just getting started on our weekend events, and someone says to me, I say, is there already another cup? I'd like to make some neocitrin. They go, we only have 3, and that's yours for the weekend. Perfect. Brilliant idea. Why don't I pour my neocitrin in my cracking black rum? Then I'm going to put it in the microwave, warm it up so it feels good, slide that down my throat. I feel fantastically woozy. Not so positive. Someone says, hey, why don't you have a gravel? Fucking great. Brilliant idea. I'll take 3. Okay, so wind sound check. An hour. Fuck. Okay, I'm going to get a shower. Does anyone have any ideas? University students. I snorted with Xanax at a Halloween party. That woke me up. You, sir, are a scholar. Perfect. Set it up. My buddy Brandon comes in the bathroom and crushes it up. Woo, okay, I feel fantastic, except I don't quite know where I am, but let's go. We get in the vehicle, my bass player looks at me and goes, Lee, are you okay? Lee's not even here. You're sound checking for me. And he's like, I understand. I have to go see a pretty girl at a local pharmacy. She's going to do my makeup. And of course, she looks like Scarlett Johansson. She's quite stunning. She walked right out of My Chemical Romance video. I'm going to really lay it on thick, except I have no fucking idea what I said. Apparently she thought I was charming, and that's all that matters. Makeup is running down my face. Get back to the venue. Audrey goes, here you go. I ordered you a drink. Happy birthday. Oh, right. Absinthe and gin. Let's keep the party going. Opening the show with my Batman-themed hardcore band, dressed in some costumes, some masks that we got from Spirit Halloween. I don't remember how the show started. I don't remember anything about it except I had one of those chrome microphones. I love those microphones. They're so sexy. They're meant to be on a stand. You're supposed to hold it like such, not swing it around your head, right? Except that's what I did. And I remember my first memory of the show was it bashing me in the face and blood gushing out of my mask. And then I realized I was on stage, and I went, who took the monkey to get in? Fuck, how does this even happen? The next logical idea, of course, is let's jump into the drum kit. Let's keep this party going. By the end of the night, I'm covered in gashes and bruises. One of the best concerts I've ever played, I think. I wasn't even there, but the audience seemed very, very receptive. I get back to the flop house, and I'm sharing a room with my friend Brandon, who has his friend lying in a sleeping bag on the floor. And he says, you can sleep in my bed with me, it's cool, no problem. So, we're lying there, and he goes, Lee, you look like you're having a great time tonight. Please tell me what it is you're doing. I said, well, I got a story for you. Pull out a bottle of Bodega red wine. I'm a sitting municipal councilor at this point in a different community. This is wine that I had collected to give to voters. As a thank you for your campaign contributions. It tasted better in my hands than it did in theirs. I think we got maybe 80 bottles, and I think we drank 65. It was a fun time. I poured the neocitrin into the wine, shake it up, and we shared it. The best high in drunk I've ever had in my life. Definitely not recommended though, because the one thing we did not anticipate, it was also a paralytic. So, I don't know if you guys remember the DVD screens that used to come up on the main menu, and it would play some random fucking annoying excerpt from whatever the hell you're watching over and over and over again. Well, Cameron, the young man in the sleeping bag, was watching The Simpsons. 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, all we hear is, Daryl Flan, Lisa needs braces. Daryl Flan, Lisa needs braces. Daryl Flan, Lisa needs braces. It took 2 hours for us to get from the bed to the television to turn this off. Crawling over each other, drooling, probably other fluids we don't want to talk about, spilling out of us, making this happen. Finally, we get back to bed, cuddle down, and we go, my God, what an adventure. 3 o'clock the next afternoon, I wake up. I stretch. No hangover. Of course not. I'm on pharmaceuticals. I feel fantastic. This is tremendous. And I look down, and my friend's got his hand on my dick. Rubbed down on my balls as tightly as he could. And first I'm bewildered, but I start poking him in the face. Hey, and he wakes up. What are you doing? He goes, Fuck, I thought that was mine. And these are one or two of a million anecdotes like this. I'm going to end my set here in a moment, and the key here that I wanted to leave you with in all of this debauchery is between all of the alcoholic experiences, all of the unfortunate performances that in my mind were fucking awesome, and realistically, I don't know. And in all of those spaces I met, at some point you grow up. But that doesn't mean you have to give up. And one thing I know about in the world that I generally work in and that I'm synonymous with is that a lot of wonderful people who probably have a lot of stories like this, those coming of age moments you see in the John Hughes movies, sometimes they give up. Sometimes people see them as that. If you were to look at me right now, in my fitted suit on stage with Tom fucking Green, you probably wouldn't assume that I was this person who was having these debaucherous experiences on the weekend. Maybe you would, I don't know. I mean, the first time I heard of Tom Green was an Eminem song and there was a dead moose involved. Maybe you would. But on the off chance that you start to interact with someone and you see them going down that path, make sure you check on your friends. Make sure you tell them you love them until it's annoying. Tell them every day. Make sure they know how important they are. Because realistically, it's not easy doing anything like this, and it's not like I'm up here getting rich and I really hope someone wants to buy a CD or Tim Mir, I'm cool with either. The reality is the same. These opportunities wouldn't happen if people didn't believe in someone. And somebody believed in me. So before I throw to Mr. Green, I want to say thank you to the incredible sound technicians who are helping make this special. Thank you to Diamond Mine Entertainment, and a huge thank you to Brandon Berg. Brandon is someone I've known for a long time who booked my crappy band a million fucking times. And I got to share the stage with some really tremendous musicians. I never felt this way. So hey, just to be clear, I'm going to pick up this little camera, and I'm going to point it out here, and we're going to just clap and cheer for just a second. We are at Tom Green in Miramichi. And now you're going to pretend you really like my set, and my name is Lee Mercy. And I'm really, really grateful to make all these new friends tonight. I hope you enjoy yourselves. For those of you who know Mr. Green from Charlie's Angels, Halloween 2, from being a best-selling author, from Road Trip, from all of these incredible pieces of our culture and history, how important it is and how unique and exciting it is to be able to have these moments to share. Not only is this a real-life Hollywood movie star from right here in Canada, my dad, but on top of that, really, really nice person. So I hope you enjoy it. I know I'm planning to, and I hope that some of you come say hi, and most importantly, I hope you keep laughing. I hope you're audacious, I hope you're obnoxious, I hope you're fucking loud. That way, nobody gets to ignore Miramichi next time through, because it was a what a fucking place to go. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Lee Mercy. And ladies